Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, everyone? Good morning on a shorter week start, right? It's Tuesday, February 21st, and yesterday was a holiday. We had President's Day, so the market was closed, and obviously there's going to be low volume, low volatility. We had a little push to the downside on the overnight session, going from the Monday session to the Tuesday session here pre-market, and there's not necessarily too much news that's going on. There is some news coming into the end of the week, which falls under line of the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting minutes, and also we have GDP and the PCE, which is going to be very important because it's an inflation printing. So GDP and inflation, PCE at the end of this week are going to be super important for the market because what we have going on is they're going to affect the overall monetary policy in the next leg for the Fed, where they might want to take this market realistically. So those are two events that you do have to take a look at the end of the week. But realistically, Tuesday and Wednesday, well, Wednesday we have the FOMC meeting minutes, which can present some kind of volatility, but naturally they're going to be pre-written scripts that we probably know the majority of realistically. But what we're going to see is there's not necessarily too much news until I guess tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, which is pretty much the remainder of the week. There's not really much to say about what had happened overnight here. There's just earnings that are coming out this week. We have a decent bit of earnings realistically, which fall under, let me take a look at here. Yesterday we had some names that I don't really have heard of that much. This morning we had Walmart that came out pre-market. Let's take a look at what Walmart's up to here. Walmart earnings gapping down. We have a decent surprise beat on both earnings and revenue, but we're gapping down kind of aggressively right now from a key resistance point around the 146.60 area, 147 area, and right now we're coming into the bottom of the distribution block, sitting at 142s on Walmart. So that's one of the earnings that came out this morning. We have Home Depot as well. Home Depot is gapping down as well. Those names, albeit right, Walmart and Home Depot, they held up pretty well over the last pop from the summertime. But realistically, they're gapping down here from these earnings. The earnings weren't bad at all, right? Maybe just forward guidance might have been a bit worse. I haven't really looked at those earnings, but it's giving us more of an indication on the earnings sentiment in the earnings sector, right? The sales were forecasted to rise 4.9% during the quarter. I can actually take a look at, let me see, financial juice here. Take a look at this and see and give us a little understanding. But there was expectation for Walmart sales to rise 4.9% during the quarter after stripping out fuel revenue, and expected executives to discuss inventory issues, freight costs, vendor relations, and supply chain challenges on the conference call. Some other analysts see a caution tone for the company due to the competitive environment and the general worse economic backdrop of the whole situation. So I'm just going to take a look at this right now. Canadian CPI came out lower than expected, actually. Decent bit lower than expected on the Canadian CPI number. Trying to find these Walmart earnings here. Let's see. Soft guidance offsets earnings beat, so a softer guidance expected. That's what I'm seeing right here. So that's pretty much a softer guidance is what kind of pulled this down. I expect the same thing from HD realistically. And like I said, HD, right? Earnings pre-market also came in with macro factors in focus and the retailer attempts to maintain sales momentum after the pandemic-driven boom. So those things are kind of slipping around here in these retail names, which is not a good sign for the overall economy. In terms of other earnings, we do have a lot of growth names that are coming out. We have Coinbase after the bell today. Tomorrow we have Baidu, Nvidia, Etsy, Unity. A lot of growth overall over stock. And then into the end of the week, Thursday, we have Wish. We have what else? We have Moderna pre-market, Intuit. We have Beyond Meat. We have Farfetch, another growth name. And then Friday, you're getting more of mundane names. So the earnings season is pretty much coming to an end, right, with all the big tech kind of out of the way here. So that's something that we have to consider as well. Another thing to talk about is tech, right? We have not only are a lot of tech names at key support, which might actually open up the downside for this overall market should we start slipping through some of these key levels, but also Meta is taking a page out of Twitter's playbook, Elon Musk's playbook, right? As Mark Zuckerberg, CEO, has confirmed a similar subscription service, META Verified, which will allow users to verify their accounts using government ID, and with prices that are starting about $11.99 a month on the web or $14.99 a month on the iOS and Android. So it's mainly targeted at content creators, enabling them to expand their communities with a blue verification badge and extra impersonation protection and direct access to customer support. And this new feature is about increasing authenticity and security across our services, Zuckerberg added in a Facebook post. We'll be rolling it out in Australia and New Zealand this week and more countries soon. So a similar thing they talked about on Instagram as well. So they're going to kind of take that Twitter approach. So that's going to be a little interesting to see how this thing shapes up. Meta is one of the names that I'm looking at as well this week, and it's into a pretty key area. It's holding up right now with this potential boost in revenue that's going to come out of this new subscription service. It's holding a very key ledge that sits in and around that 170 region or so. So we're going to see how this thing shapes up. But names like Google are trying to test the lows. It can break out of this 93.50 area, right, and continue to the downside, which can bring things lower, along with Amazon, right? Apple's another name that I'm going to be watching too today. It's gapping lower, so I want to see how it kind of maintains in and around that 150, 151 area to see if Apple starts pulling over, if Apple starts dropping below these key areas around under 149. I think that's the start of this downside move. 151 area, 151.20 is going to be a region that I'm going to be watching very closely for Apple to see if we can get that push to the downside. If that holds as resistance, see if we can get into 149, and that would start the next leg lower. When it comes to the S&P futures market here, bringing this random symbol here. When it comes to the S&P 100 futures market today, we had a significant pull down overall in this market this past last few sessions here. And right now what's going on is there's a key top of a distribution block that sits comfortably in and around that 72 region in this market, right? This 4072. Let me just move this. That 4072 is a very comfortable area for the market, and that's going to be an area that I want to see hold a resistance here today. The max I would like to see this market is around 82, 84. I don't want to see it necessarily above that region. Otherwise, these bulls are going to try. There are poor highs around these mid 80s up to 90 that could get cleaned up, but I'd rather see this price fail at this 72 if we can get back up there and see that bearish move. Now, it's going to be pretty difficult for prices to get through this 48, which is where we're pretty much sitting at right now. The pre-market lows are sitting at 48 right now currently. If that breaks, there's going to be an acceptance into a distribution to the downside, which can take us lower throughout the session. And the bottom end of that target is going to be around 410. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. I'm going to be looking for a little more bearishness today. I want to see if we can rally here earlier on in the session and get sold off. We have some news that comes out at 9:45 and 10 a.m. today that will give the market a little baby jolt, I should say. We have a PMI composite flash at 9:45, and then at 10 we have existing home sales Eastern time. So those are a few things to consider today. We also have what else do we have? Steep fall in Amazon shares hit employee compensation plan. That's some of the news that came out. Greater electrification. Uber now pushing EVs into India. Tesla may be weighing a takeover of Sigma Lithium. Another earthquake also in Turkey and Syria, which is awful. What else do we have? And yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to leave you guys with. I'm leaning a little more bearish, especially if that 48 breaks today. I think there's going to be a decent bit of downside. I'm going to be watching this. Obviously, the 56, 58 area, that's going to be the first area of immediate resistance. But 72 is a huge, huge region where I do expect some of these sellers to come out and try to whack this thing lower as we get into this market open. So with that being said, I hope everyone has an amazing trading day, a shorter week naturally. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and check us out at TRADEPROacademy.com. A lot of news is coming out for our new futures order flow course, and come check that out on our website. If you're subscribed to any of our email listings, you're going to get all that information in the week. And yeah, check us out at community.tradeproacademy.com. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.